Hello, avid readers, book nerds, or casual observers. Welcome to the Read Along, brought to you by the Lit Round Table. I'm Anna.
And I'm Joseph, and this is our read along of the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. All right, everyone, it's part 2.
Part 2. Today we're talking about chapters 4 through 8.
Oh boy, you guys, this book is... Okay, I just want to start off by saying it's very well written, and I really like it a lot. But it is so in your face, this book ain't pulling no punches.
No.
N.K. Jemisin is not holding back at all, and honestly, respect.
Yeah, no,
I tip my hat.
Thoroughly disturbed and incredibly engaged at this point.
That's such a good way to put it. Disturbed and engaged.
Yes.
That is so accurate. Wow.
I did get the audiobook finally. And I also got my physical book. And I still have the ebook. So I'm dip it in whatever direction I can.
Yeah.
And I was listening to most of this in the car. Yeah. And I think, no joke, my jaw was just dropped for most of chapter 8.
Chapter 8 I actually read in the book. I listened to 4 and 5 and then half of 6 and then I read the rest. But chapter 8 was just, I was floored the whole time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So we'll
what's
work
weird
our way there.
Is that I'm reading another book right now that also is using people as there's very similar things happening to the way that people are being used to achieve a certain goal. And very different books. And it was a little mind-bendy to have both of them using people that are sedated in such a similar way. It makes me wonder if Hank Green has read the 5th season.
I mean, it's a popular series. I wouldn't be surprised.
But,
and it's dystopian, Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, I will say that both disturbing. This one made me want to crawl out of my own skin, though.
Yeah, this one was a lot. In every chapter, but especially 8. So we'll starting at chapter 4. It's our first chapter with our new POV character.
Cyanide.
Cyanide, thank you. I was like, it's not cyanide.
Close though.
I keep... but she just goes by Cyan for short.
So the first part of this chapter, she's talking to another higher up at Fulcrum. And... there's a lot of innuendo happening that totally went over my head. To the point that when she gets to Alabaster's room and starts talking to him, I was like, wait a minute, what is happening right now? And then I had to go back and reread, and I was like, no, it's just not there. If you don't know, you don't know. And I didn't know.
Yeah, same. When I was reading it, like you said, it all went over my head, all the innuendos and stuff. When the higher up person she was talking to said, I have 6 children. I was like, what?
Right.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I was like...
Why does that matter?
Exactly. I was like, what an odd thing to throw into this conversation.
I'm happy for you, I guess. So why does this matter? But then it became abundantly clear. It's because the magic users in this society are... bred. And
so we need to clear up some stuff from last week.
Some stuff has been cleared up for sure.
Yes. So based on what we knew last week before we'd gotten to Scion's chapter, it seemed like people, movers, let's call them movers, or orogenes, it seemed like they happened sporadically and unintentionally. But apparently that can happen, and those individuals are seen as lesser than a lot of the time than
Right.
people that are in this orogene society where they are intentionally breeding to create more of themselves. And
Yeah,
there's
and
like a
like
very
the
distinct class system with like rings, and which was very Scott Lynch and the
I had the same thought.
oh my
The
gosh, the last one.
the Magi,
What was the last book in that
uh,
series called that we read?
Republic of Thieves.
That's the third one?
Republic of
Yeah.
Thieves. Yeah,
Yes, you're right.
it's
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Liza Locklmore, Red Sea Under Skies, Republic of Thieves. Yeah.
yeah, so it reminded me like I kind of like the concept of jewelry being signifiers of magical
Yeah,
ability. It's kind of cool. I'm kind of here for it.
it is cool. I also like it, and the whole ring thing made me also think about Scott Lynch and his world. So yeah, that was just a fun little similarity. That's about all the only similarity there was, but yeah.
And like dystopian.
Well, yeah. So the man, there's just so much like this. These chapters completely flipped on its head the trope, which I love a good inverted trope. Uh, the kid goes off to magic school and they become this powerful magic user and they're gonna save the world and like these magic users are revered and treated like gods among men. But it became really clear in this whole section of reading that the magic users are under the thumb of the Guardians, and they're basically enslaved for their power. And we find out later that some of them are used as literal tools and are sedated to just do their power. So this was a trip, such a trip. And the whole revelation about them breeding with each other, and it's like expected. She like Cyan goes to his room and she doesn't want to be there.
So Cyan
And
is a 6 or 5 ringer.
she's a 4 hoping to become a 5.
Okay. And Alabaster is a 10.
The only 10.
And she thought he was going to be a lot older than he is, just based on status.
Right. Right.
And he's like
So,
not really about it. Poor guy. I feel bad for all of them, honestly.
yeah.
Just what a terrible way to like feel like you have to exist. It's like just to breed and make babies with people you don't know.
Yeah. It was I'll just say it was the least romantic sex scene I think I've ever encountered. Uh
Yeah, it's up
it
there for
was
sure.
it was so top 5 probably for least romantic. Very transactional, They're just there to so that she can get pregnant,
And
and
like
that's it.
consensual, but like not. Like neither of them want it. But they're both
It's
compulsory. Help me with that word.
compelled.
It's not really compelled. It's like compulsory. But I'm trying to put an ly in there. Compulsorily. Whatever. It's a compulsion. Like that they have to do it.
It's expected.
It's expected.
Which is why the lady told Cyan, I have 6 children.
Yeah.
And
Basically,
Cyan is not the first person that Alabaster has had to do this with.
Right.
He's done this like 12 other times, he says later on.
So she's basically like, I've done this 6 times, so get over yourself and just do it. Is more or less what she was saying.
Yep.
Which is awful.
So that's the world we live in. The magic users are forced to impregnate each other and reproduce.
Right.
And
so it's also not just
then-
women. Which was a...
Right, that was another misconception that got squashed really early in this first chapter. Like, oh, dudes can be origins as well.
And I also think that this means that... Is it Essen? Nessa? Ooh.
Nessa, yes.
The you character. The second...
Right.
Second person. I am more willing to believe that both of her kids also had the power.
Same. Yeah.
But I also am wondering now if her husband was... If he took their daughter to protect her. I don't know.
Yeah, we still don't know the whole story of what happened to
Her
their
son,
son.
yeah.
If her husband actually killed him, we don't know why he ran off with the daughter and didn't just kill the daughter too.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that he ran off with her and didn't just kill her.
Mm-hmm.
If he was so concerned about his children
Being,
having
yeah.
orogeny, uh, yeah. So it's weird. We don't have the whole story, but
Yeah.
but the first chapter is pretty much just, yeah, we meet Cyan. She meets Alabaster, which I really like Alabaster as a character.
I think he's very
He
complex, and
yeah
I
yeah
feel a lot for him. Because he feels
same
like he's a character that, like, obviously they have a lot of respect and, like, reverence for him, but not so much that they actually aren't abusing him. Like, he is out on the road
yeah
all the time working, and he's also being propositioned all the time to
yeah
create more children. And
because he's the most powerful
because he's the
magic
most
user they
powerful,
have.
and he's seen these terrible things, specifically about the node. What do they call them? The node.
Hotspots,
They're like hotspots, but the people that are there working the node.
maintainers.
Yes, thank you. The node
Yeah,
maintainers. And when Scion makes a comment about having never been to one, he is aghast, and he thinks that everybody should see them. And then we find out that it's because they are an example of, like, utter brutality against another human being, in my opinion.
yeah,
Of someone being so sedated, and that they're unaware of their physical body most of the time.
do you want to just talk about all of the Cyan
Yeah.
Alabaster stuff in one chunk? Okay, so
I mean, that's basically
yeah,
what we're doing. Sorry.
and then we'll just hop around to the other POVs too. So I really really like this idea that Alabaster is like the guy who has seen too much and knows too much. He questions their stone lore, which is similar to this society's 10 Commandments, basically, where like these are the
Yeah.
things that you do to survive a season, which is these cataclysmic events where like the earth splits open and there's a winter for 2 years or whatever. Thermonuclear winter kind of sort of situation. And he says, well, the second law or the second tablet for stone lore is always found broken in like the same exact way. So someone along the line didn't like that, and they tried to break it, and they wanted it to not be included. So he's got this very nuanced take of we are existing in a framework that is created by people that is fallible and not everyone agrees on. And I guess I just have a lot of respect for that viewpoint, is what I'm saying.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
Like, we are currently living in a, not you and I as
Right.
white Americans.
I know what you mean.
But in the book, he's acknowledging that they're living in a specific systemic issue where they're
Yeah.
being oppressed, and they
Yeah.
don't even realize it, which is crazy as an outsider looking in, because it's like, oh my gosh, you're obviously living in a system that is built to hurt you.
Yeah.
But how fascinating is that? Because
It's a system.
Because
Yeah,
there
it's a
are,
system that's
people-
made to hurt you.
because there are people outside of real life systems that can see that they exist to hurt the people that they're over. But the people that are in it have a hard time seeing it. It's just fascinating.
And I think with this example in this book, it's also interesting because of like the power dynamic between the people that have this power of orogeny and regular people. Like they could take over the world if they really tried, which is basically what Alabaster says. Like, we could rule the world if we wanted to, if we tried hard enough, but we're stuck in this system where we are basically slaves to the government and to these guardians, and yeah, they're just stuck. And
Ugh.
Cyan kind of chastises him for having that thought. But it also, so I have a thought and a theory. Go ahead. You had something you want to say?
Well, so I was just thinking about how when they first start their journey together, and Cyan notices that he is like quelling small tremors as they're going. And she has this
Yeah.
very distinct memory when she was just like a ring 1 or ring 2 being told, do not mess with the little stuff because you don't know how it's going to impact the big ones. And so she is just like aghast that he's trying to like subdue the little things just throughout the day as they're going. And then the moment that she sees the node and how the child that is in charge, quote unquote, of the node has been treated, she's changed. Like she understands, oh, this is why you're trying to make the little things better, because the node maintainers have to deal with this all the time and they're already under such a burden that anything we can do to make it a little better is worth it, even if it makes us tired all the time.
And it's funny. Well, no, it's not funny. It's interesting when you think back where, yeah, she had people telling her like, yeah, don't quell the small tremors. You don't know how it's going to affect the big ones. But really, what they were saying was, don't bother with the small tremors. The node maintainers have those covered. Like, don't waste your energy on that.
Right.
Is like,
Yes.
it's not going to actually have any repercussions on bigger ones. It's just a don't waste your energy type of thing.
Right.
But it's not truthful. They're saying that, just to make them not do that. But again, Alabaster has seen too much. He knows too much, so he can't help but quell every tremor around him. And we do see this. Okay, let me give my theory.
I was just gonna say, and he was so mad, like righteous indignation at the fact that she was not automatically trying to help.
Right. Yeah.
Which is so indicative of how the real world is too. Like if you see that something's wrong and you can see how to fix it, when people that don't have that, their eyes open to it, it's frustrating to see that people aren't also trying to solve the problem.
Like, Alabaster is a character that is so, like, I can't help but admire his viewpoint and his drive, but he's also like incredibly like cynical and really blunt. But I also can't help but empathize with Cyan and her view.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like she is the character that is relatable to me for like,
So true.
like you don't see these systems that are oppressing people. You don't notice it when you're in it, and you're unknowingly taking a part of it. And it's partially because of ignorance, like she can't take like the whole blame for it, but it's more about like how she reacts once that ignorance is shattered and she learns the truth. How is she going to react to it? And I think we're going to see that here.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm interested to see where it goes. So another comment about Alabaster, and then my theory. He has an incredible show of strength when he quells this massive niner, what they call, basically, I'm thinking it's like a 0.9 earthquake or whatever they call them in actual real life. This crazy earthquake where like a volcano is about to erupt from the ground, and he manages to quell it and put it down in this incredible show of power and strength. And he uses Cyan's origin powers to do it. Like, he just takes her powers and uses it like she's a battery.
Which is
to juice up his powers.
which is also disturbing.
Yeah. I mean, she said that shouldn't be possible. But then what are they doing in the nodes, with these maintainers? That's exactly what they're doing. They're used like batteries. So he knows it's possible, and he just does it. Because she wasn't reacting fast enough, and he needed the juice, to save lives. So he just did it, which is disturbing, but also, it was cool. uh, it's always cool to
Yeah.
see these magic users flex
Mm-hmm.
in these types of stories. But this also made me think, how do you feel about the theory that Alabaster is the dude that breaks the city in half in the prologue?
Oh.
Because it says in the prologue, I just looked it up. You can imagine how he looks for now, but let's talk about how he's feeling. So they never give us like a visual description, but this is a guy who could cess like the entire city, and he can use the origin powers of another and use them to juice himself up. If he has the whole city and he can cess everyone, and what if he could like pull all of the orogeny of the whole city if he's like in Fulcrum where they are
Yeah.
and just breaks the continent in half? You know, what if
Wow.
this is the story of him being so desperate to break the system that he literally breaks the system? That's my current theory.
Wow.
Yeah,
Fascinating.
that's my theory.
So then who's the
So sorry if that's a spoiler.
No, I think it's great. So you know what though? Authors put those kinds of Easter eggs in because they want you to find them.
True.
So who do you think the Guardian was then? Do you think we've met the Guardian that was in the prologue?
Oh, was that a guardian or just a stone eater? I don't know.
Are they? We don't know if they're the same thing or not, I guess. Huh.
I liked the theory that the guardian from Damia's chapters was a stone eater, but I'm less inclined to think that now because does Alabaster have the same type of eyes? Who has the same eyes?
Oh, you're right. Someone has
no.
very white. No, it's the boy.
Wait, is it the kid?
It's the kid.
Okay, maybe the guardians are stone eaters.
Yeah. We'll get back to that.
Yeah. But anyway,
child.
yeah, I don't know. It's possible, but I'm not sure. I don't know. Although Alabaster does mention how doesn't he say his guardian was a woman? And Cyan asks him if he killed her, and he says, "No, I'm not an idiot." So maybe that woman that was with the guy in the prologue, the Stone Eater, who was, projecting the appearance of being a woman, maybe that was his guardian, and they're kind of working together to break this whole system. I don't know. That was my thought, though, when I was reading. I was like, oh my goodness, this is the guy that breaks the continent in half. He's the most powerful origin user, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I do want to also point out the fact that the node maintainer and the nodes have the maintainer and then a series of guards, no guardian, and a doctor to keep them alive. And the fact that this particular node maintainer, and presumably this is common, was being abused by the doctor is horrifying.
Yeah, that was terrible. That was super, super gross and awful. And this child, who it's also speculated might have been Alabaster's kid.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know.
Because he doesn't know what happened to any of his kids.
Yeah.
Which he laments.
And man, we gotta. So that's pretty much all of the Alabaster science stuff. Although we could talk for a while about it, but I do. That's kind of a good bridge to talk about Damia.
Yeah.
Or Damia, Damia, and her guardian. So it's this crazy dynamic of she knows that she's stuck in this position of she can't go back home. There is no more home. Her life is different forever now. So either she joins Fulcrum, becomes a magic user with the rest of Fulcrum, starts earning them rings, or if she can't control herself, they'll control her and just turn her into a node maintainer, or they'll just kill her. And we were right to be a little suspicious of our guardian friend because he is scary.
He is
He
terrifying.
is awful. He breaks her hand,
And not a little.
and
A lot.
no, he full on breaks it in 3 places
Mm-hmm.
to see if she can control herself. He then threatens her with crushing it and permanently damaging her body, to see if he can like goad her on, and then reveals to her that if he had a knife up against her ribs and he was going to kill her if she couldn't control it. And then he like resets.
Has the audacity to tell her that he loves her.
Yeah, it's so messed up. It is
She
such an
believes
abusive
him.
dynamic.
She believes him.
It is such an abusive dynamic, and they get these kids young when they're impressionable, and they, man,
Not
it
only
is
when they're impressionable, but when they've
awful.
already had to feel like they are worthless.
Yeah,
Like, Damia's family hated her, and she hated them.
yeah.
And she was desperate for anything that was different. And he snatched her up and made her feel important.
And so many times in the chapter, she describes him as being the last person in the stillness that loves her or cares for her.
Mm-hmm.
And even after he breaks her hand, and after that she's terrified of him, she lets it show that she's terrified of him, and he asks her, like, are you scared of me? She says yes, and then he says good.
Mm-hmm.
And then he makes her say, what lesson did you learn? She says that you'll hurt me if I don't do what you say, and that you'll hurt me even if I do what you say, but you think that it's beneficial. And he said, yep, you got it. And that was so messed up.
Mm-hmm.
I am so disturbed by this man.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, it's so terrifying and awful.
Which just makes the like trauma response that we saw from, is it Essen?
Yeah.
It makes the trauma response we saw from Essen so much more poignant. And also why she did not want her kids to be discovered for so many reasons.
It is Essen. I double checked. Yeah. Yeah. Man, I'm so scared for Damia because of this world she's being thrown into. Mm-hmm. Also, Alabaster asked Cyan if that's the name that she was given. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if maybe Damia is past Cyan, like before.
Oh, you think we're in some like wibbly wobbly timey wimey business?
Yeah, like Damia is past Cyan. The prologue dude that breaks the continent is Alabaster, and you, which is Essen, is us living in the aftermath of what happened. I don't know, just a theory, but I have nothing really concrete. It's just a maybe, but because we don't know what Cyan's name was. Do we know that she was?
We don't.
No, she wasn't. She wasn't bred. I think that
she was not, because he makes a point of calling her a raga several times.
Yeah, he uses the word, and she's uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that. So yeah, I don't know. That could be the case, or maybe not.
Fascinating. Which, putting the you in present tense, like in the present, and the others, I will have to keep this in mind as we continue. Because I initially did wonder if we were dealing with some weird, like, Witcher level timeline.
Like Witcher season 1. Yeah. For sure.
Which obviously works better in a book than it does in a show.
Sure. You can get away with more weird stuff like that in a book than you can with a show.
And I won't necessarily be mad if that's the case.
I wouldn't be. No, I think that'd be a really dramatic reveal if later on we meet Cyan's guardian, and it's the same guardian that Damia had. So that's, and then we learn that it's actually her. That would be fascinating.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
that could be totally off base, and maybe there might be something obvious in the chapters that disproves that I just missed. So sorry if that's the case. If they're like, actually, her physical description is totally different, you idiot. Sorry. Sue me. But it was just a thought. But yeah, she's in a dire situation, and I'm scared for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the Guardians are terrifying.
Yeah.
But we got to talk about our girl, us.
Yeah.
We got to talk about Essen and her situation.
I'm creeped out by this kid.
I'm fascinated.
Fascinated, but creeped out.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I feel like he's some kind of weird time capsule kid. Like, you know, he got unearthed in this shake. His geode cracked open, and now he's like, "What year is it?" She says things. Well, he doesn't say that. No, sorry, I'm making a connection.
Okay.
I think that he's the kid that cracked out of the geode in the prologue.
Because you said that, and I was like, "Geez, did I like really miss something?" Because he is covered in dirt.
Yeah, they didn't come out and say it, but she finds him naked, covered in dirt, and he's weird.
He is,
and he doesn't
weird.
He doesn't eat human food.
Right. And his eyes are
he's gotta white. He's got to be the kid that hashed out of the geode. So I think there's almost no shot that he isn't. But yeah, when where was I? When we meet him, he's naked, he's covered in dirt, he's creepy, he's weird. He can detect where where her daughter is. He knows where she is.
Yeah, but he also can't explain how he knows.
Yeah. Oh, it's the reason I think he's like a weird time capsule baby is because when Essen says this term, like fires below, what are you? He's like, fires below, huh? That's weird. Like he's commenting on the modern slang and how dumb it sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's from another time, you know, a previous time, a past season, if you will.
Ooh.
So one of the previous 4, presumably, since this is the 5th season.
I thought that there had been multiple 5th seasons already. And that, like, the 5th season was when things got cracked open. Over and over again.
At the season... Oh, I thought that
Maybe
it was, like, just... Well, maybe I did. I don't know. I just thought that a season is one of these cataclysmic events, and that I just assumed that this was the 5th season since that's the title. I don't know. That's just what I figured.
I'll have to go back
Maybe
and see.
I'm wrong.
I'll have to go back and see if I can find that part where they were talking about the seasons. I don't even remember what chapter it was in or who it was talking about it. It was probably Alabaster.
I bet it was.
But, yeah, the spooky kid, and then she's kind of got him in tow with her. And he's drawing attention because he's weird.
But she doesn't want to let him go because he knows where her kid is.
Yeah.
So she's just stuck with this creepy, weird kid.
Yeah.
This rock muncher.
Yeah, because he eats rocks. I think that's where you got sidetracked. He doesn't eat human food.
Yeah.
He eats rocks.
So, well, at least he did when he cracked out of the geode. He was eating the rocks in the geode. Yeah, I think that he has to be that person. And it's funny that when, like, she didn't realize until after he took a bath, he must have been absolutely filthy. Like, after he takes a bath, she's like, "Oh, you're super pale." Like,
Yeah.
didn't realize that he wasn't brown skinned like her. Yeah. She wonders if he was albino. But he doesn't. His eyes are icy white.
So, do we think that he's a stone eater?
She mentions when it's mentioned that his eyes are icy white, she says, just like that trait that is so desirable with a different group. I wonder if that group I'd have to go back and read it again. Is that the Empire that she was referencing? Like, those eyes are desirable, like with the whole breeding thing. People like having those kinds of eyes. So maybe the guardian of Damia is just one of those people that has those eyes. But I don't know. Maybe they are all stone eaters and we just don't know.
Well, let me see if I can...
I have no idea where that was. But just an observation.
It's going to be U plus 1 is 2. It's going to be in that chapter.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that like if all of the guardians have those icy white eyes, then yeah, I think that all the guardians are stone eaters for sure.
He also got her bedroll all dirty, which she's not super happy about.
He was grimy.
Yeah.
Man, there was also some really cool lore stuff in this section that Alabaster dropped about Father Earth and the reason why orogen magic was created. Like they're supposed to be fighting against humanity on behalf of Father Earth because Father Earth hates humanity, and that's why there's so many shakes and upheavals and stuff, is because the Earth is literally trying to kill off the humans.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. But the Guardians have harnessed them and used them to go against Father Earth. Man,
the kid's name is Hoa.
The setting is wild.
The setting is wild. The kid's name is Hoa, by the way.
Right, yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The Hoa Constrictor.
And he doesn't have a calm name, like to indicate what his job would be. So she's...
Yeah, and Essen mentions how he's super cagey, even though he seems like he's too young to know how to be cagey. Like, yeah, it's because he's a stone eater and he's like 200 years old.
Yeah.
They can make themselves look like whatever. Maybe he just took on the form of this child to lure you into a false sense of security. Man,
that's even
wild.
more disconcerting.
Mm.
Ooh. He's a squat little thing. You notice when he stands up, barely 4 feet tall. He acts maybe 10 years old, so he's either small for his age or has a manner too old for his body. You think it's the latter, though you're not sure why you think this.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he's from somewhere near the Antarctics. That's what she's... Give me the part of... Oh.
Yeah.
Hoa also has ice white eyes, real actual ice white. Scared you a bit when you woke up in the morning and he looked at you, all that dark mud surrounding 2 points of glaring silvery blue. He doesn't look quite human, but then people with ice white eyes rarely do. You've heard that in Eumenes. Among the breeder use cast, white eyes were especially desirable. Past tense.
Right, because at this point, Eumenes has been busted in half.
Sanzids liked that white eyes were intimidating and a little creepy. They are, but the eyes aren't what makes Hoa creepy. He's inordinately cheerful, for one.
So there's definitely something to the eyes that I'm sure we're going to learn more of later. Yeah. Are they stone eaters? Or is it people with stone eater blood? Like they're part stone eater? I don't know.
I mean, if he is what hatched out of the geode, he literally is a stone eater.
Has to be a stone eater. But so the other people with ice white eyes, are they full stone eater or part stone eater? I don't know. It's crazy.
He doesn't seem to be moving slowly or like weirdly, like the Guardians.
True. Or like the
like
one from the prologue.
Anyway. Or like the one from the prologue. But maybe that's something that happens with age.
Yeah. Or that's a modern stone eater thing.
I don't know.
He's an old one. I don't know, man. I don't know. So many theories, so many speculations. But what a wild section. So they're heading towards her daughter and an inevitable confrontation, I'm sure, with the husband. Mm-hmm. I guess we'll see. Mm-hmm. Damia and her guardian, Shafa, are heading to Fulcrum, presumably, to get her enlisted. And yeah, Cyan and Alabaster are heading to their pointless mission that is turning out to be way more eventful than they were bargaining for.
Exactly. Yeah.
Man.
So, for next time, you're going to read the Interlude, which is just like 2 pages, through chapter 11.
Through 11. Man, like you said, disturbed and engaged.
I have so many questions.
So accurate. So accurate.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah, next time we will pick it up there, and I hope you guys are just as engaged and just as disturbed as we are.
For sure. For real, for real.
But, yeah, I guess until next time, happy reading.
And we'll talk to you next time.
Later.
Bye.